I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There's no closed meeting?
There's no closed meeting tonight.
Very good. We'll skip to item number 2, General Manager Report.
Just a couple things, Mr. Chairman, and members of the board on your calendar. The 15th is President's holiday. Next Monday will be closed. Texas Water Week is the 8th through the 10th, and that's been canceled because of the storms in D.C. So if anybody wanted to go to that, they're not having it. So, and I'll ask Leandro to do the financial report.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my name is Leandro Garcia, Chief Financial Officer. I'll be going over the financial performance report as of December 31, 2009. And in the interest of time, I'll just try to zoom through it. First chart here reflects gross revenues on line 7, year-to-date of $52,916,000. Adjusted gross revenues on line 12 after backing out fuel and southmost, $39,378,756. Total requirements, line 17, comprising of O&M expense and debt service, were $17,788,000, leaving a balance of $20,540,000, of which $2.8 million after usage has been transferred to the city. $17 million has been retained for PUB in its account. We have continued to fund the operating reserve, $125,000 year to date, a target of $500,000. The fuel sub-account, $375,000, an annual target of $1.5 million. CIP funding, an annual target of $6.2 million, has received $1.5 million. Primary electric, and $750,000 has been set aside for the city's $3 million economic stabilization account. At this point, we have not transferred any funds to the city, leaving a balance of $14,834,000 for PUB surplus. These bar charts do a comparison, bar graph of prior year, the budget, and the actual. 36.3 million actual net operating revenues versus 42, 52 gross versus 43, 39 adjusted gross versus 23 budgeted, 24.5 prior year. Fuel and energy costs has been below budget, 11.6 versus 16.9 or 5.3 below budget, and a little under our 2009 levels. O&M expenses as well are under budget and under 2009 levels. End of year surplus, 20 million, 17 retained PUB's accounts, 2.9 transferred to the city. Electric has provided most of that end of quarter surplus. On the sales, we're pretty much in line with prior year and the 5-year average. We're 21,735,209 above the 2009 levels, or 7.8%. On the water, same story here, in line with a little over the 2009 levels by 96,914, or 6.8%. Same thing with wastewater, 61,256 over 2009, levels. Precipitation during December was up there, 5.64 inches compared to less than an inch in 2009, and little over an inch on the 5-year average. Temperatures down to 57 compared to 64 prior year, 63 5-year average. On the comparison of the typical residential electric bill for 1,000 kWh user, on the red you can see we're on the 12-month rolling average. We are below most of the other utilities we compare ourselves to. On the month of December, we did have a fuel factor of 5 cents, and I believe that's probably one of the reasons that we were a little bit over the Magic Valley, Amigo, and Dynawatt, but we will be seeing an improvement here for the months of January and February. Same thing with our comparison to other utilities. The red, the moving, we have a 10-month average here. It's pretty much in line with other utilities, but higher than New Brownsville's and CPS. Our month of December was a little higher than most of the utilities, and probably due to our maintaining the fuel factor of 5 cents. We do want to maintain the fuel factor at a certain level to avoid any risk in decreases in balances and keep it constant and minimize fluctuations. But we did reduce it for the month of February from January to 4.5 cents. So customers will be seeing a slightly decrease in their bills for February. CIP, we have a $73 million annual spending plan, 38 million in bonds. As you can see, that's in anticipation of project funding for some of the projects in the 5-year plan. Water and wastewater have spent most of the 10 million year-to-date expenditures of 7.7 million here on the 10 million. This provides a summary of southmost activity. Kind of hard to read, but we did have a total of year-to-date distribution here that shows how much has gone to PUB and the other participants. We're also adding this month distribution from our water plant 1 and 2. Just in general, the PUB water plants 1 and 2 provide treatment at a cost of 69 cents. Southmost is at $2.97, and we all know that the process over there and the whole system is a little bit more expensive. The blended rate is $1.12 though when we actually blend the rate. Just for comparison purposes, the first block in the 4 blocks of water rates is $1.55. So we do have a margin here, $1.12 blended rate for the whole year. These are annual averages to the $1.55 first block rate, which is where most of the consumption falls under 10,000 gallons. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Jose. Any questions? We have a presentation of a check. Is that correct?
Mayor, are they still here?
Yeah, Dr. Marley,
Okay.
Edward, and the staff over here to present in conjunction with the city, we did a fundraiser for the Haitian Relief Fund, and they're here to present PUB with a check that's accumulating to the fundraiser with the PUB bill. So, Mr. Chairman, you represent the board. They're here to present the check to you. A lot of tacos were sold.
And we hope to make good use of it. It was an unfortunate event, and this is our contribution to this fund, and we hope that all the city members and other people also join this fund and help out and rebuild the country, and hopefully we can get some more things done in conjunction with the city. We'd like to thank the mayor for helping us out with the event too, and any other future events or anything like that, we'll be more than happy to help out.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the entire board and the PUB staff, we thank you for your generosity, and we put it to great use. Thank you very much.
This is to go with the effort
Fund?
that the board approved, okay? They'll give you the real check over there.
Okay.
Thank you again. Item number 4, consideration and approval to pursue technical correction of Environmental Protection Agency grants associated with the Brownsville Matamoros Weir and Reservoir project for possible alternative use of funding and designation of said project.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, we talked about this at our last meeting about designating a project. We do need to do that by the February 17th, submit that to Congress to move the fund in a parallel path with the Weir. And I am recommending we do that with the Brownsville wastewater treatment plant, the Robindale wastewater treatment plant that we had the discussion on tonight, so we get the paperwork in by next week.
I want to make a motion. I so move we take the staff's recommendation.
A motion by Dr. Morales. I'll second. We have a second by Mr. Nájera.
Discussion.
Discussion?
Mr. Chairman, John, is there going to be wording in it to where if we do get the permit for the weir before the money's spent, that they could be reconsidered and apply the money?
I don't know if there'll be wording, because we do have proper paperwork that's given to us by Congressman Ortiz's office to designate this project. But certainly, this money would not be able to be used until October.
So if there is a permit before October, then it can come back to this?
We could always bring it back to the board, or we could, but, we need to designate an alternate project, get it in there for approval, and this is the project we need to do in a timely manner, so we don't jeopardize any less. We also want to try to get the additional balance for the wastewater plant in this submittal for Congress to consider by next week, so, but it won't happen until probably later this fall that we could actually use the money, so.
We have a motion and a second.
Would that hurt us in, I guess, our second round of stimulus money?
No, if we got our money, we could apply it. That's why it keeps it open for a lot of opportunities between now and October. But we don't want to lose that money.
Any other? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say
Well,
aye.
we're gonna submit this probably at the full 45, and it'll be up to the discretion of the board on, how much money we get at the end of the day. If we don't get any more, we'll only have the money, the alternate funding that we have, plus we'll have about 30 million is all to play with if we don't get any more. At that point, the board would have to make a decision if we borrow some money or just go down with the lesser version of the plant. We're not asking for that decision tonight.
But let me ask the board this, because I want to vote for it. But if there is a permit for the weir before the money's spent, is the board willing to reconsider, come back and finance it? Or is it just a done deal?
I guess as a board member, I think the vision was when the river ran dry and that we needed alternate water sources, and we realized how important this project was. So the vision of this project was a tremendous vision, and I'm all for the project in pursuing water sources that I'm sure, as far as the cost of the water, will probably be less than doing other projects that require the needs of this community when it comes to water. So I'm all for supporting the weir as we go forward.
But because initially, and I think Leandro here, or Dick, and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, the purpose of fighting the battle for the impact fees was to help us build a water plant. But also at the same time, based on the land use study, the capital improvement study, and the impact fee, it called for raising rates to build a water plant. And that was separate from the funding of the weir. Now, I understand the situation we're in here because we're being pressured. And I think we're being pressured to do something when really we shouldn't be. Let's put that aside. But if we get the permit for the weir, which is I think the most important project for the city of Brownsville for the next generation of water needs and stuff like that, if the funding is there for the sewer plant through rates, then the money should go back to the weir if it's allowed at that time, if there's a permit. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I think that would be the prudent thing to do, that we do both.
And this funding was for a water project. So the idea is that we're using it so that way we don't lose the money. So that's, I mean, we have to be conservative about that, but the idea is that if we have water needs, then the weir is a good way to go. And it's just going to push the rates to go up, because actually we shifted instead of raising rates on the wastewater, we're shifting it over to the Weir project.
I just don't want to kill or send the wrong message to Mexico and not get the permit.
Well, I'm all for the Weir also, and I think we should seek the same avenues that you were talking about right now. If we do get the permit, and we'll see, those same avenues, and we'll raise rates and do what we have to do to sell it to the citizens of Brownsville, so we can get the Weir, accomplished. So
I feel comfortable based on what I'm hearing here that we're willing to bring it back, okay, evaluate and look at where we're at.
We might get stimulus money for the Weir or the wastewater plant in the next 6 months, so that could change.
Yeah.
But I did talk to EPA today, right before the meeting, and they said, guys, we need to spend this money. And it really was serious that we need to get this money spent right away.
Yeah, I think that, I just wanted to make a comment. I think that, we're all for the Weir, and we all want better for the city, so definitely, we all lean that way. But we don't want to lose the $19.5 million.
We really need to move on that.
Thank you.
No. We have a motion, a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 5, consideration and action on groundkeeping maintenance specifications as a service contract. Mr. Garcia.
Yes, we're bringing this document back for your consideration. We've had discussions in the past about requiring a 25% performance bond and 100% payment bond for our ground maintenance service contract. We're ready to proceed. Document has been reviewed by legal, and we're here to answer any questions if you have them, but we'd like to proceed so we can give the vendors out there, the service providers, another opportunity.
Any questions?
Question. I appreciate, Mr. Garcia, that you provided all the information having to do with this contract. I still have a little bit of a problem with the legal counsel recommendation for 100% payment bond. I think that since it is a service contract, that if it averaged out to $200,000 or $300,000 as far as the value of the contract, in reality, on a monthly basis, they pay their workers X dollars, and so I don't think that the risk is as such that we would be liable for 100% of the value of the contract to where we were concerned that they're not getting paid. So I would request maybe to reduce that to 50%.
We can proceed based on the wishes of the board.
I'll make that as a motion, I'll second.
Okay, I'll motion PUB staff's recommendation in approval and rebidding the groundskeeping maintenance as a service contract with legal counsel recommendation of a 25% performance bond, and instead of a 100% payment bond, that it be reduced to a 50% payment bond.
We have a motion by Mr. Farias, second by Mayor Ahmad. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, quarterly investment activity report for period ending December 31st, 2009, pursuant to chapter 2256.023 of the Public Funds Investment Act.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, in accordance with the Public Funds Investment Act, we do prepare for you a quarterly portfolio report, which is being handed out at this point. I do want to direct you to, and we had to replace it. We had, on the initial distribution, we had some problems with the page numbers, but if I can direct you to page 9 of the report, entitled Yield Summary as of December 31, 2009. Page 9, Yield Summary. This one summary captures the essential information we're required to report to you on a quarterly basis. It categorizes or groups the investment types by category: agency securities on the left, bank deposits, our investment pools, CDs, and U.S. Treasury notes. We do have agency securities with a par value about centered on the report at $29,500,000. and then a certificate of deposit and a U.S. Treasury note of $5 million and 1.5, totaling par values of $36 million for these actual securities. The market value of our investments, including those securities and the cash, is $145,926,000. On the percent of assets, we show the percent of each grouping to the total. 20% accounts for agency securities, 7% for bank deposits, 68% for investment pools and money markets, 3% for CDs, and 1% for U.S. Treasury notes. As you know, we have a cap for the investment policy not to exceed 75% in any one grouping. The last column provides a yield to maturity. The overall yield for the time period was 0.63%, or 63 basis points. This is a drop from the 9/30/09 average yield of 0.78. We had a few maturities come into play during the time period, and we're investing at a much lower yield. On our agency securities, we still had instruments ranging from 1.2 to 2%. Those are, all of the securities have a maturity of 2011. We are investing in callable type securities, so we're just having one call tomorrow, as a matter of fact. So we're trying to achieve some short-term yields that are favorable with the risk of them being called, but nonetheless are within the public funds investment or the investment policy. Our CDARS program, we've had $5 million with Falcon Bank. Those have been rolled over, and we had a very good favorable 2.81 rate that has now dropped to 0.99, slightly under 1%. So all the rates, all the investment rates are still very low. As y'all know, the Fed's funds is still low, and the dailies are still low at less than 0.16. So we're trying to find some worthwhile investments out there as best we can. That concludes the report, unless you don't have any questions.
Any recommendations from a financial advisor as far as other investments that could give us?
I'd like for them to tell me that things are on the upswing, but most of the reports we get are either stable, no foreseeable, increase, a little bit of daily stuff, but not in the foreseeable future.
Thank you, Mr. See item number 7, consideration and approval to provide commercial paper funding for water and wastewater capital improvement projects for the period of January 2010 through March 2010.
Every month we adjust, or our engineers adjust their estimates for commercial paper funding based on actual bids that they received or actual expenditures on the projects that are complete. This month we're adjusting our second quarter fiscal year 2010 requirement by $731,406. If you go to the final page of the little spreadsheet, page 4, towards the bottom, you can see on the third from the right column where we have the total. We currently have an obligation of $25,107,048 in CP, commercial paper funded projects. We had $24 million coming into the first quarter, and then the second quarter, as I mentioned, we're adding $731,000. So this is just in line with our commitment to bring to you on a monthly basis what we need for commercial paper funding approval as part of our $50 million CP program.
Question?
I make a motion to approve as recommended.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Padilla, second by Dr. Morales. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Discussion, sorry. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Consent items.
I have a question on item number 2, and I guess that was the only question.
Do you want to approve the items 1, 3, 4, 5? We want to go by each one.
Unless anybody else has any.
Second.
We have a motion by Dr. Morales to approve items 1, 3, 4, 5. Second by Mr. Hinojosa. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any discussion? All opposed, motion carries. Item number 2, consideration and approval for a rental agreement for Xerox 4595 copier printer and Xerox Phaser 5550DT printer. Mr. Garcia.
You had a question?
Yeah, I guess this copier will print all our utility payments?
Yes. Yes, sir, it's a copier printer, and I mean, it's a big one, and it'll handle all of our printing needs there. Our old machine was a Canon, and it printed approximately 1,000 statements per minute, and this one will print a little bit faster. No, I'm sorry, this one's a little bit slower, but it's more economical, and we're also getting a backup printer, which is also a little bit slower, but it will, in case of an emergency, like right now, we have to scramble to find a printer. In this case, we'll have a dedicated backup printer, which would probably print at half the speed, but it would still get the bills out.
I know that this is a cost and we do have to provide good service. I know that a lot of businesses now are providing statements through the internet and giving incentives for using their internet connection to print statements, and as you can tell, it's very expensive to have this type of printer. So I just don't know, we have a strategy in place to be able to, down the road, maybe become more efficient in that arena.
We do, and we do have a program out there. It's part of our green program to push the e-bill and also the ACH payment, so you can do it all online. And you can log on now and access that through the www.brownsville-pub.com. We've had that for a couple of years. However, it's taken off a little bit better than we would thought, but it is still a slow adoption because a large percentage of our population, doesn't conduct business in that manner.
Well, we just need to try to do as much as we can to reduce that cost.
Definitely.
What's the percentage of the e-bill?
If I had to guess, it's got to be, I'd say like 5%.
And what's the percentage of debit, bank debit?
Last time I looked, it was in the neighborhood of about 5 to 6%.
So you got a total of about 11%?
No, well, that's combined. Remember, they're two separate things. But e-bill picked up quickly. In other words, it took us the better part of about 10 years to get to about the 6-7% on ACH transaction, EFT. And e-bill picked up pretty quick in that regard. And most people who try it really like it. You'll never be late because, the transactions, you get to pick the date within a range. It's very convenient for most customers, and like I say, most people who choose it really enjoy that feature.
Do we have the domain pub.com, or we won't have that domain?
Not pub.com. We have looked into that. Somebody is sitting on that address and
So we're actively...
and wants a pretty penny for it. So
It states here not to exceed 80,981, but over here at the bottom, charges 0.0129 for billable print. Is that in excess of the 80,000, the 45,000, or is it all together? Where it states 0. Is that in addition?
I'm taking a look at that.
I think it's all together.
Yeah, it's all together.
The recommendation says for total amount not to exceed, including the...
It's all together. Okay, if you go with the 59,000 accounts, you multiply them, they'll be 80,900, and then I thought this was the billable amount over here, which is 0.29, I thought this. So it's just 80,000, not the 80,000 plus the 45,000, if you calculate. Just bring with the shortest contract cost per month. $20 plus 0.0129 billable printage. So that's another 45,000 right there.
Okay. That's the cost for the backup printer.
So that's in addition to the 80,000?
Only if we use it.
Okay.
In other words, if our main printer should go down, we have the backup available. And it's a smaller printer, it prints slower. It's about half the speed of the production printer. And that's the cost for the backup printer. Should we, let's just say that the printer broke today, we still need to get those bills out, they're time sensitive. So even though it would take us longer, we just run it all night long, and that would be the cost for each print on the backup printer.
Any other questions?
If, you know, I have one question. If the printer we're just about to buy or lease breaks down, then we have to pay for an extra printer to do the work? Or should they replace it for your cost?
Well, typically, no, well, they'll work on the printer, but the printer is about the size of this podium. It's huge, and they're not that common. So even though they're going to fix it, and and we're paying for it in our service agreement, sometimes physically they just don't have the part. They got to get the part out of Houston or some other area, and rather than sit idle and let billing stack up, we want to have a backup printer so that we can continue operations and keep rolling. Because you never know if that part's going to take a day, 2 days, or 3 days. And typically, I would say historically, we've been able to get back into business within a day. But I do remember at least one occasion where we were down for about 3-4 days, and it's you know, when you're looking at about 3,000 bills on average per day, that piles up real fast. And we're just trying to protect ourselves and, you know, to be able to continue working, even though it's at a slightly slower pace. So that's the reason for the backup printer. But no, to answer your question directly, it would not cost us extra to fix the machine.
Is this a lease on this machine?
Yes.
For how long?
I believe it's 60 months. 5 years.
Any other question? We have a motion.
I'll make that.
We have a motion by Mayor Ahumada, second, Nájera. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Public comment? None? Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.